Hey yogis, it's Joe, coming to you from my backyard. Hope everyone's staying healthy and safe. Thought I'd have a nice little deep stretch practice out here. Deep stretch yin in my backyard with the nice green trees. Some candles, one blew out. Such is life, right? So to get started, I thought we would start today's practice in child's pose. I thought we're going to use some blocks and stuff today, aside from that. So if you have some blocks in the house, if you don't have blocks in the house, we can just use a pillow. Got those nearby too. This one's particularly polleny. I wouldn't suggest using it. My deck is a little polleny right now. So good thing I took some Zyrtec, right? So find your place, find your comfort. Come to center, right? Maybe find a long spine first. Take a deep breath in. Find that length. Draw that belly in. Draw the shoulder blades down. On that exhale, ground back down through the earth, right? Nice long spine. Nice deep breaths. Not really controlling the breath now, just noticing where we're at, feeling our comfort, finding our center. And with these breaths, I want you to notice how the belly expands and how belly contracts. Deep breath in, belly expands. And deep breath out, belly contracts. Finding that length through the spine, sitting nice and still. Maybe find an intention. I've been bringing a lot of peace into my life. It's kind of one of my themes. Now, more than ever, more important. Deep breaths in, belly expands. And on that exhale, belly contracts. And on that exhale, I want you to find your hands on the mat. I'm going to take our knees back towards the back of our mat, finding that child's pose, bringing big toes to touch, taking knees nice and wide if it's comfortable, reaching our fingertips forward, right? Finding all that length through the spine and really just settling down into the body, right? Finding that deep breath in, and deep breath out. From this place, we begin to breathe deep in and out through our nose. Every breath in, our belly expands, takes up space, fills up, going down towards the floor, right? And on your exhales, we draw belly in, and we settle down. And we allow gravity to take the body and find that comfortable place. So we rest our forehead on the floor. Maybe we rest our forehead on the floor, right? Fingers going forward. Maybe we rock side to side on the forehead, massaging that third eye, finding all that length through the spine. And on an exhale, we settle our hips down towards our feet. Maybe we come a little bit lower through the hips. Deep breaths in, and deep breaths out. Starting nice, starting quiet. So on a deep breath in, I want you to take your fingertips forward. And on that exhale, we're going to walk them off our mat to the side, right? So we're breathing in through our left side body. We're going to take our arms and keep them separate today. I want you to find the fingertips on this left hand, right? I want you to press down into those fingertips. I want you to find all that length through that left side. Deep breath in, our belly still expands. And on those exhales, we draw our navel into spine, and we begin to sink and settle. We notice the left side body, left lung space, left intercostals, maybe that's serratus anterior. I feel a little bit of my pecs as I reach.
So I have to confess, I haven't really practiced much during this. I've kind of been that guy that sleeps until noon. Don't know why, but it is what it is. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Right, and settle. Notice what you feel through the inner thighs. Notice what you feel through your glutes. Right? Notice any places that you feel tightness. Notice any places that feel growth, that you feel that expansion. And don't judge things, right? Just notice what your body feels like today. It's so important because every time we come to the mat, it's totally different. Right? Deep breath in. And on that exhale, we're going to walk back through center, finding all that length through the spine again. And we want to settle here. So we bring our heart down towards the mat if we can. And then maybe your chin touches the mat if you have that space. If you don't, we bring our forehead back down to the mat. We take those deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Right, finding length again. Length, length, length. We draw our hips back towards our heels. Next breath in, take your hands off your mat to the left side, right? We're going to breathe through that right side, feeling that stretch through the right shoulder, right intercostals, right lung space, right obliques. Bring that hip closer down on that right side towards that heel. Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. And deep breath in, deep breath out. All right, and feel that stretch through that. I feel in my QL on that side. All right, feeling it up through. Notice what you feel. Notice where you can surrender, and notice the tight spaces, and notice the comfortable places. All right, find your body. We use the pose to find the body, not the body to find the pose. Breathe in, come back towards center, find some length. On that exhale, draw that chest down if you can. Maybe forehead, maybe chin. Find that space, find length, right? And then on your next exhale, we're going to roll up and we're going to find tabletop. And when we do, we stack our shoulders over the wrists. We keep our fingers nice and wide. We bring our shoulders over, hips over knees, right? Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. So we're drawing that belly in. We're finding that comfortable place, right? Rooting to rise, right? Find that place in the mat to press down, to draw your navel in. Find your neutral spine. Right? Neutral spine is so important. Everything in yoga is about your spine. It's not what we look like, right? So our belly's drawing in. We're breathing in and out through our nose, right? Every breath in, belly expands down towards the floor. Every exhale, we draw it in. Next deep breath in, we're going to drop our belly, lift our gaze, right? Bring our heart through. Maybe sits bones go up a little more. First time we're here for our cow posture. And then on that exhale, we're going to press that earth away. I want you to arch through your spine. Feel the shoulder blades protract. And press your hands into the mat so you really feel that stretch between the shoulder blades. Deep breath in, we drop our belly. We lift our gaze. Bring our heart forward if it's possible for us, right? And then on that exhale, we press back. Right? And take a few breaths with your own time. In your own breath, with your own movement, right? Slow, gentle. Keeping the body nice and cool for our yin practice, right? We're just finding some motion through our spine, warming up our spine, finding those comfortable places that we can go, right? For me, that's usually my shoulders and my hips need to change direction. Sometimes I like to go around in some barrel rolls. And just really moving through what feels tight, what feels loose, and just noticing, right? Deep breath in, deep breath out. So on that next exhale, we're going to come down to a nice seated posture, right? Nice long spine. We're going to bring our feet together for our butterfly pose. So in butterfly, we bring the feet to touch, right? Pinky toe blade sides of the feet, maybe they touch here, right? Maybe you can bring your toes to touch. So the closer we bring them into our hips, the more we're going to feel that stretch right here.
And if we move our feet a little closer away from our hips, we're going to feel that stretch a little bit more through our glutes. I'm going to put my hat back on until the next time I touch my head to the floor. Got to support my Yankees. Sorry, Boston fans, right? So when we're coming into this posture, we have a couple of different options for us, right? So if we're really bendy, we're going to find flexion first. So we find that length first, and on that exhale, we're going to come forward. We're going to bring our forearms to the ground. We're going to bring our forehead down to the ground. Now, if we don't have that space, right, and we find ourselves up here, we're going to take our blocks and we're going to place them underneath our knees, and we're going to let them rest. Maybe, right? Find that spot that you can take it. Find that comfortable place, and maybe you come forward a little bit, but always up first, and then roll through forward through your spine. Finding that comfortable place, right? If we have more space, we can place the block underneath our feet. Gently roll forward. All right, so these are all the places that we can go. I want you to take notice. I want you to feel your body, right? So find that place that you can get into. We bring our feet together. We draw that navel in, right? Finding that length through the spine. On that exhale, we're going to roll forward, finding flexion, bringing that forehead down to the ground, to a block if we have, right? And we rest. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. So we check in with the pinky toe side of the feet. We feel the pinky toes touching into each other. We feel that blade side of the foot. All right, we resist that fidget. We want to stay safe and we want to stay comfortable. So if we feel any pain, we back out slightly. We don't like pain, but if we feel just discomfort and a little bit of tightness, you know, like a small stretch, that's where we hang out. We find our edge. And we ride that edge. Deep breaths in, our belly still expands. Takes up all that space. Deep breath out, belly goes towards our spine. And maybe we're able to surrender a little more. And so, surrendering is an art form, right? Like some of us, it's hard to let go. All right, but notice everything touching the ground. Like feel your fingers. Feel the palms of the hands. Feel the wrists. Feel your forearms and elbows. Go up into your triceps, right? Biceps. Shoulder blades. Right? Where can you soften through the neck and the head if it's possible? Right? All these places safely, right? Going through our shoulder blades, we feel our shoulder blades. Going down our back, maybe we notice the upper ribs, mid ribs, our lower back, our glutes. Feeling the outside of our ITB bands, right? Outside of our legs on the thighs. Feeling our quadriceps maybe lengthening. Noticing our knees. And quads, calves, ankles. Back to those pinky toes, right? Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So wait and breathe and wait, and look through the body, feel your body. See if there's anywhere you can go. All right, we're working our tendons, our ligaments. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Every breath in, our belly still expands towards the floor, still takes up space. And every exhale, we let that go. And notice those sensations you feel.
Still breathing, still settling, still having that conversation, right? With the mind and the body and the breath. Taking a few moments here. A few more breaths in this place, in this shape. Noticing the floor. Noticing the places of tension. Noticing the places you're relaxed. Finding those breaths and staying humble. I feel like the world has told us to take a pause, right? We're all moving too fast. Slow down. Breathe. And we're getting ready to move on. We're going to take our hands, we're going to press them down into the mat. I want you to press down so you can unroll your spine. Finding all that length nice and slow. Noticing the echo of that posture, right? Find that tall back, right? Heart's open. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Beautiful. So we're going to take the block away for this side for a moment. We're going to set up for Janu. Well, I'm sorry, half butterfly really. So we leave our foot right where it is. It's not Janu. You take that right foot out and set your body up. Like check in with your sits bones, right? Flex this right foot just to begin with. Make sure our foot's still in the center. Same rules apply with our block. We can place it inside the knee. We can place one block on top of each other. We can bring our forehead to this, or we can bring it to our knee if we have that space, right? But first, we're going to find the length first. And on that exhale, we're going to turn towards the inner side of our knee. And on your next exhale, we're going to roll forward. So we're going to take this in 3 parts. We're going to start here on the right. And we're going to come to center, and then we're going to stretch the leg. Left side, and then we're going to come back to center. So when we sit here, I want you to notice your foot. I want you to notice your hips, right? Notice like kind of how they feel a little asymmetrical, right? Notice that. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So on our right side, right, we've got this nice right long leg. And let this foot go. We don't have to keep it so flexed anymore. And let it soften. And when we do that, we can soften through the leg, right? We notice the back of the calf, the back of the knee, and the back of our hamstring. And as we soften, we find space. And we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So I feel a little stretch in my left QL. I'm allowing my right hamstring to lengthen. And we sit. And we wait. And we breathe. In and out through your nose. Every breath in, our belly still expands. And on those exhales, our belly contracts. And we feel that length through that right side hamstring. I can tell you there's a big difference between the warm room and here. So, you know, I mean, a lot of us have been inside for a couple of weeks now. But when we notice when we're outside of the heat, we might find ourselves less bendy. Things to notice. Also 2 weeks of sitting on the couch. things to notice. I shouldn't say I've sat on the couch, I've done other things. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Alright, so we're checking in on that right side, feeling that length. Checking in on the left side, just noticing. Deep breaths in. And deep breaths out. Right, and as we sit, we just resist that fidget and look for the invitations of the body. Find where you can take it safely. Notice those releases if you get them. A few more breaths here before we come up and feel that nice straight spine. And get ready to move on. Bring our hands down to the mat again. I want you to press down through the hands to do the work for your back. Move your hands closer to your body to find all that length. Once we come up, we find that length. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Right? And coming towards our center, we're going to leave that left leg straight out. Sorry, that's a B. Be friendly, B. Thank you. And as exhale, right? We'll find that length, right? Find that length first. Check in with your hips. Check in with that foot. On that exhale, we find flexion. We come forward, right? As much as you can safely. We bring our forehead down to the ground. All right, and find that place where you can take it safely, right? Check in with the legs. Check in with the hips. Right? I can feel like I need to move this foot out a little bit. So if you need to honor your body, move and honor your body, right? Set in with your sits bones. And then recheck in. Right, allow that right foot to go soft. Checking in with our flexion of our spine. We're going to do some extension poses. Just a simple practice. Coming back to that breath. Coming back to our stillness. Finding ourselves amid the chaos. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. I'm not going to stay here quite as long as the other side. Kind of secondary, right? Finding those places you can soften and relax safely, letting the body grow naturally, right? Yoga is a journey in those millimeters, right? It's that conversation between your body and your mind, and your breath, finding length, and finding space. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. I love my birds in my backyard. I feed them every day. Grateful for the birds. And a lot of breath in. We're going to take our hands to the mat and help our spine become long again. Finding that nice long length. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And like find that straight spine. We're going to help this knee. It's been under some stress, right? So we close it for it. We grab our hand underneath and do the lifting. Bringing it back towards the midline. If we need to check in with our leg, check in with our leg gently, right? Just taking a few rounds of love with that leg.
we bring it back to the center. We set up for the opposite side with our left leg. Right? So checking out our sits bones, checking out our alignment, right? So our foot's in the center. We're bringing that left leg out towards the side, bringing our block in towards the midline, right? Finding that place we can rest, finding our ankle nice and relaxed, right? Finding that comfortable place for your joint. Deep breath in, find your length. And then on that exhale, we're gonna roll forward again. Bring our forehead down to our block, finding the same posture on that left side. Right, once we get there, reflect on the shape that it makes you feel, right? Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So it allows my pelvis to stay kind of centered. Nice sits bones even on the floor for me in this posture. Notice both your feet, maybe the different sensations. Usually my extended leg, my foot always talks to me, so I like to have my heel on the floor, and I like to make sure the stress is out of this ankle joint, like it's not screaming at me. I just maybe take my foot and let it relax and find that comfortable place for it to sit on the floor. And breathe. And we notice our body. All sorts of stuff floating around down here. Got quite windy all of a sudden. And we breathe. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. And find that comfort. Familiar spaces. Familiar poses. Right, and allowing that head to rest on the block. Maybe if you have a little more room, tilt your block. Maybe bring your forehead down just a little more. Right, find that comfortable place. Find your breath in and find your breath out. Deep breaths in. And deep breaths out. So notice those places. Where are you resisting? Check through your head, neck, and shoulders. Let the shoulders go. Check through our rib cage. Deep breath in, our belly still expands. On that exhale, we still draw it in. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Just going to hang out here for another minute or two, right? We're finding our breath, noticing the different sides of our legs, hamstrings. Draw that belly button in. And we get ready to move on. We bring our hands down to the floor. We're going to press down through the hands to find length through the spine. Draw that belly in. Slowly stack your vertebrae one on top of each other. Find all that nice straight length up through your spine. Ground back down through both legs. Taking the block to the side, taking a bend in that knee. Coming back towards our center. Feet together, knees low. Check in with the sits bones. Find your breath, find that length through the spine. Every breath in, our belly expands towards the front. And on that exhale, we draw navel to spine. Finding some extension poses. We're going to bring our knees up. We're going to crisscross our feet. We come forward for tabletop. I want you to find a round of cat and cow first, right? Just check in with your spine. Maybe take a stretch through that right calf. Bring your toes down to the ground first. And stretch to that right side calf.
Right? Toes are curled under, nice straight spine, pelvis is aligned, navel in. We just press, we take the balls of the feet and we just press that heel back in a straight line towards the back of the room. Next breath in, we bring that knee down, right? And we check out the other side. So left foot goes back, we take those toes down to the ground, we draw our belly in and we press back. Find that stretch through that left side. Oh my goodness, feels so good. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Draw that navel in, we bring that left knee down to the ground. Just take around a cat and cow here. Find a little movement through your spine. And then on that exhale, we're going to walk our hands forward. We're finding puppy pose. We bring our heart down to the ground. We bring our chin to the mat. Maybe it's our forehead, right? So our knees are stacked. Our hips are stacked right over our knees. Sits bones up to the ceiling. Belly button is in. We're drawing our heart forward and down towards the mat. And we stretch and we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Right, we check in with that puppy. Finding a little bit of extension through our spine. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Alright, we press down evenly through our hands. Our forearms and hands are strong. We're drawing our belly in. And then we find those places that we can surrender into this posture. Right? Find the places that you can let go. Find the places you can find that space. You take those deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and we just live here and we feel what we feel like in this shape, in this posture. We draw our belly in, we feel our hips. We feel everything touching the mat, whatever it is, your hands, your chin, knees. Tops of feet and toes. Maybe your toes are on the tips of your toes. Right? Just breathe. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. And then on that next exhale, we're coming forward. So we press down through our forearms. We draw our belly in and we come down to the mat. We take our right ear to the mat. We take our arms out to the side and we take some breaths. Nice deep breaths in. Nice deep breaths out. And we rest, right? So let your toes go. And when you let your toes go, we feel the mat underneath us. Right? We let our knees go. We let the glutes go. Let your back go. Feel your chest on the mat. Feel your head on the mat on the side, whatever ear it is. Deep breaths in. And deep breaths out. Deep breaths in. And deep breaths out. A few more breaths here, and then we're going to find a Sphinx posture. Find that place of rest. Notice when you're laying down how when you breathe in, the belly presses down into the mat and comes out the sides almost. And then on that exhale, we draw our navel into spine and, you find that space, right? You can make that pocket. Deep breath in, belly presses into the mat, comes out the sides. And then exhale, we find that pocket. So we set up for that Sphinx pose, continuing that extension, right? So we find our forearms flat on the floor. Palms flat on the floor. If we have low back issues, our feet are mat's distance apart. If we don't have low back issues, they're nice and together. So we're checking in with our hands and our forearms. I want you to draw the belly in, and then I want you to draw your heart forward while your hips are still on the floor. So we're creating a little bit of space in the spine. Right? So our navel's active, and we're energetically drawing our heart forward while bringing our elbows behind us, right? Pressing back towards your feet. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. So our gaze is about 6 inches in front of us, like your neck is included in your spine. So when we're creating this length, we want to create that length in the spine too. So we gaze down a little bit so our spine is nice and straight. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. And on that next exhale, we bring our head back down to the mat. We turn one direction or the other. Perhaps we breathe deeply in through the nose and out through the nose. Right, maybe I'm crushing my microphone. So we breathe. We find that place to surrender. Like, let your muscles go. Every time you come back down to that mat, let the mat hold you. Find your breath and, let your body go. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So getting ready to move on, we're going to find an option for seal. If you don't want to take seal posture, you can take another Sphinx. So we check in again with our feet. We press them into the mat. We find our hands, and we're going to bring them a little bit further back, like towards your chest, right? Not so much by the deltoids. Our elbows are still up, right? And touching our ribs almost. And then when we press down to come up, they're going to go straight back. So we're finding our breath. I want you to press down into your toes. Deep breath in. And on that exhale, find that seal posture, right? We're pressing down through the hands, pressing down through the feet. We're drawing our heart forward, and we're pressing down, right? Glutes are active, protecting our back. We're drawing our navel in. We're finding length through the spine as we draw it up towards the ceiling. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Right? Find that strength. Hold it for as long as you want. And then on that exhale, we draw our belly in. We come down. We keep this length. Bring your forehead to the mat. Bring an ear to the side. And find that comfortable place to rest. You can even bring one arm on top of each other. Rest your forehead right on your arms. Crocodile posture. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. And then on the next inhale, we're going to take our hands down to the mat. We're going to come up and find a downward facing dog as a transition. So you can get there however you'd like. If you'd like to come up to your knees, you can come up to your knees, tuck your toes underneath. And on that exhale, we press our hips back. And we find that downward facing dog. You can take your feet wide too if you'd like. Make it nice and easy. Press our hands into the mat, draw your belly button in, and I want you to draw your heart back towards your thighs, finding all that length through the spine. Right? We bend one knee, then the other, right? We're checking out our hamstrings, checking out our hips. Finding that safe space you can go, finding that place to rest here. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So on that next breath in, we're going to step our right foot forward. It's going to come between the hands. We're going to take our back knee down, right? We're going to untuck those toes. We're going to bring our right arm up. And then we draw our navel in, right? So checking out with our knee, our back knee, and our glute. We're drawing our navel to spine. We're active through Mula Bandha and our Uddiyana Bandha. On that exhale, if we have a little space, we can sink forward. Then we're going to bring our hands to the inside of the foot. Right? We set up, we heel toe our foot out a little bit. And we set up for our lizard pose or dragon. Maybe you find your forearms. We keep our spine nice and long, so we're going to gaze down. If you need, you can take your handy blocks and you can place your forearms on a block if you need. You can place your forearms on the floor. If this is too much, then we just keep our hands right here and we check out what's going on in our hip. We're mindful of the hip, we're mindful of the glute and our piriformis. We don't want to pull, and we always bring everything towards the midline safely. So we're being nice. Lizard, right? So we're finding our lizard. Right? We're finding all that length through the spine. Option for a twist, right? So we draw that belly in. We take our left hand center. I want you to bring your right hand. Now mind you, we've already stepped our foot out. We're kind of on the blade of this foot, slightly. right? And I want you to find your twist. So we take our hand above the knee mindfully. We draw this belly in. I want you to bring your bottom ribs as much as you can towards the trees, I guess for me, and towards that wall for you. And look up, right? Find the twist and really twist through the spine safely. Being mindful, we're bringing our ribs down towards the floor. Our gaze comes out of our neck nice and long. Then maybe we gaze up at the ceiling if we have the space. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Next exhale, we gaze down towards the center. Maybe we come onto that blade of a foot. Bring that right knee out towards the side. If we like, maybe we press down on this thigh, right? Not on the knee, on the thigh. Mindfully, always. And then on that breath in, we're going to take that knee back in towards the midline safely. We walk it in, bringing our hands down to the ground. We're going to tuck those back toes underneath. We're going to lift this leg up. We're going to step back to that downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath in and sigh it out your mouth. Right, feels good. Sorry if that was loud. On our next deep breath in, we're going to take that left leg. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, right? So we're finding that length through that spine, through our hips. We're bringing our knee down towards the ground. Right toes come down towards the ground. We're going to step out a little bit. Bring your hands inside. Find your lizard or your dragon. Keep that length through the spine. All right, deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. We want to keep the knee towards the midline. Right, we're engaging our glute, being safe back here. Keeping our piriformis nice and safe. Right, noticing through the hands and toes what you're feeling. Right, we want to lift them up and press them down so we're active a little bit. And we're finding space safely. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. So on a breath in, when we're ready, we're going to change. We're going to take our hands down. We're going to find that same length. Going to be mindful, right? Take our foot out a little bit more. Still working the knee always towards, our toes and knees are always in a line, and we're always bringing them back towards the midline. We're going to find that same twist. We're bringing our right ribs down as much as we can towards the mat. Finding that length through the spine, drawing your belly in, looking up if it's possible. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Inhale, we come back to center. And heel toe that foot a little more as we come onto that blade of the foot. Same thing, we can maybe press on our thigh, never the knee. We never want to mess with our joints. We always stay safe above them, right? Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. We're still pressing down with our hands. On that inhale, we come back towards our center. Bring our hand down towards the ground. Back toes tuck underneath. And when you're ready on your breath, you bring that left foot back. And we find downward facing dog. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. So we can come down to our knees. We're going to find our way down to our back, right? And so for this part of class, I'm going to turn towards my side. So I want you to find your bridge posture first, right? So we're going to find just a bridge position. Bring our knees up towards the ceiling. Our feet are nice and on the ground, right? And I want you to feel your spine nice and flat on the ground. So we might need to bring our elbows to the ground and adjust our shoulder blades. And then we find that nice long spine, right? Our belly button comes in. We check in with those hips. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Right, find that long spine. Find gravity. Press the feet down. Press your hips down. Find your spine flat. Deep breath in.
Deep breath out. Next exhale, beginning with figure 4 on the right hand side, we crisscross our ankle over that knee. And then if we have the space, we're going to take our hands all the way through to the knee. If we don't have that space, then we're going to bring our hands to the outside of the foot, and we can keep the leg long, we can bend it, and we're going to just pull our leg towards, we're going to pull our left knee towards our chest, right? And with our right arm, maybe, right? We're pressing our right leg forward if it feels good. So check out with the spine, right? We want it nice and long and flat on the floor as much as we can. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. We're doing recline pigeon on the floor. So that right foot is flexed, protecting your meniscus, cartilage of your knee. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. All right, feel that through that right glute, right hamstring, right ITB band. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. So on your next exhale, we're going to release this left leg down towards the ground so our foot comes to the ground. We're going to keep this right knee up towards the ceiling. Deep breath in, deep breath out, right? Like just check out, what do you have going on? Draw your belly to the spine. On that exhale, we're taking this right foot down towards the ground. And then once it hits the ground, I want you to check in with what you got going on, right? I want you to find that long spine through your body, right? Our knees still up, coming down towards the ground, our backs on the ground, breath in, right arm up. On that exhale, take it wide as you can. I want you to reach towards the other side. And you gaze towards that right hand, right? Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. We're reaching through our right fingers, right? Right middle finger, right index finger. We're reaching towards my neighbor's house. Hi, Sue. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Right? Enjoy that twist, right? And then on the next inhale, our gaze comes back up towards the ceiling. We're going to bring our right arm, ooh, shiza, sorry, that was hot. Bring our right arm in, I hit the candle. Bring our leg up towards the ceiling one more time. We're going to set up for a half happy baby. So we take our right foot into our right hand, and we grab that pinky toe blade side of the foot. And then we work our knee as much as we can towards our armpit on this side, towards the ground. And then this left leg, it's nice and bent up towards the ceiling. Checking in with our alignment of the hips, I want you to press this left foot into the ground so our left quad is nice and active, and our knees going straight up, and we're having our right foot nice and flexed. It's up straight towards the ceiling, and we're bringing our knee as much as we can down towards the ground. I'm not very good with video. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Right? Find that breath. Find that place to surrender. Next exhale, we're going to release this right foot, so we let it bend. Nice and easy, it comes back down to the ground. Checking in with our feet, I want you to press down, lift your hips up. I want you to check in with your back. Our gaze comes back up towards the ceiling. I want you to press your elbows down to lift your shoulder blades up to find all that same length, right? Find that nice flat spine on the floor again. Take that deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. So starting on our left side, we're going to crisscross our left leg over for that figure 4 posture. Taking our hands, one between the leg, one on the other side if we have that space. We're going to grab the outside part of the knee. And again, if we don't have that space, we can leave this leg long. We can grab the back side of our thigh, or we can let the leg come back down on top of our hand. So if we can grab that knee, we grab the knee, we bring it towards our chest. Maybe our elbow presses this left leg forward. Find that stretch. And we want that nice long spine again. So we want to find that straight back on the floor mindfully, protecting ourselves with our bandhas safely, right? Mula Bandha pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha, our navel lock. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Right, really feel that stretch through this area. Maybe your pisiform. Piriformis, pisiform is a bone, hello. Piriformis and your glute. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Next exhale, we let this leg go. Our right leg comes down towards the ground. We still have that crisscross, right? And on that exhale, we take that foot down towards the ground. I want you to find that same length through your spine. On that next deep breath in, we will take our left arms up towards the ceiling. Our knee is still towards the ceiling. And then on that exhale, we take that length all the way out as much as you can. Find that length through your body. Draw your navel to spine and gaze towards your extended fingers, right? Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Next exhale. We'll come back towards that center. Bring our arm back in. Bring our leg back up towards the ceiling. Again, we check in. Find that same long spine. Finding that half happy baby on the left hand side. We find the outside pinky toe blade of the foot. And we bring our left foot, our left knee down to left knee towards your elbow. Left foot is nice and flexed up towards the ceiling. Right leg is bent up towards the ceiling, pressing that foot into the ground, pressing your knee down towards the ground, flexing your foot. Nice long spine. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Feels good. Getting ready to release that down towards the ground. Finding a block or a pillow or whatever we have in the house, a couple of books. We're going to find that nice supported bridge posture. So we're going to bring our feet parallel, right? You're going to be pretty close so that you can touch your fingers on your heels. You draw your belly in, and on that breath, we're going to just roll our hips up. We're going to slide this block underneath our sits bones, right? We're going to slowly roll them down. So keeping the knees towards the ceiling, pressing our feet down, taking our arms nice and wide. We have a nice supported bridge posture, right? So when we come into that supported bridge posture, I want you to feel your sits bone, your pelvis roll onto the top of that block. So it's really right underneath your glute muscles, right? And then above that block, we're letting our spine roll down towards the mat. Below that block, our legs are extending up towards our knees. Keeping everything towards the midline, finding that support of the block. A few more breaths here, and then we're going to find that inversion to end our class. We're going to just bring our feet up towards the ceiling. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. So on your next breath, we take our right foot, we flex it, we bring it up towards the ceiling. And then on that next breath, we bring our left foot, we flex it, we bring it up to the ceiling. And we find that place where we can rest our hips on the block. And we're doing almost no work to keep our feet up there. It's nice and relaxing. Our pelvis is kind of just floating on the block and our legs are floating up there. So when we come into these nice inverted postures, right, we're allowing the blood to come back down to the trunk. We're giving our heart and lungs a break for all the work that they do for us. We should say thank you, right? Deep breaths in and deep breaths out. Maybe take your hands to heart center. I kind of always do in this posture. I don't know why.
It's natural for me, and I always have a few moments of gratitude for my body and for my breath and for my practice and for what it allows me to do. Even in the craziness of the world, you can find a few minutes of peace to yourself with your breath. And just even feeling your body, sitting wherever it is in the room. If it's your car, you can feel the gravity of yourself sitting in your seat. If it's your office chair, you can feel gravity there too. And you can close your eyes for a moment and take deep breaths. You can come to the belly and feel it expand. And you can feel it contract. And those are ways you can mitigate some of the stresses of the day, right? Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. A few more breaths here, and then we'll move into our Shavasana. And then on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees. We bring them down towards the ground. Draw your navel in. Protect your bandhas. Press down through your feet. So roll your hips up slowly. We bring that block down. We roll our whole body down, one vertebrae at a time, until you feel that length through the spine. Right, we'd extend one leg long, maybe then the other. Taking our hands towards our feet. Finding all that space. Taking that deep breath in through the nose. And on your exhale, sigh it out. As you surrender down into your Shavasana. Finding your rest, right? So important. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Right, and spend time in this Shavasana. Spend as much time as you need. Let all the burdens and the stress of the day go. Come into yourself. I want you to stay in the Shavasana for as long as you want. I'm going to come into a seated posture with hands at heart center to wish you namaste. But you stay where you are and find your peace and find your relax. When you finally finish your practice and you come and you're ready to sit long, find a nice comfortable seat. Find a nice long spine. Take that deep breath in, and on your exhale, let go. Right? Let that go. Take your hands to heart center. Find your length through your spine. Bow your heads. My fellow yogis, even during this challenging time where we all must stay separate, we can still find community within our practice. The divine light in me sees the divine light in each and every one of you. Sat Nam. Namaste. Namaste, namaste, namaste. I miss you guys. Can't wait to see you. Have a great day.